Welcome back. I'm ready for another one of my famous rants. I made the mistake of reading House Resolution 109, presented by AOC, and of course it lit me up like a Christmas tree. It's often called the Green Deal. Well, if I've ever seen a document that stinks, drips of socialism, it's this document. I'm not going to read all the wherefore and whereases because they're kind of meaningless. But let's get to what the resolution would do if it were to pass. It is the duty of the federal government to implement the Green Deal, to achieve zero greenhouse gas emissions through a fair transition of all communities and workers, to create millions of good, high-wage jobs and ensure prosperity and economic security for the people of the United States. Doesn't sound bad until you start reading. This should be accomplished through a 10-year national mobilization authored by the federal government, including leveraging funding and providing investments for community-defined projects and strategies, meeting 100% of the power demand in the United States through clean, renewable, zero-emission energy sources, including, and then there's a laundry list. Let's be clear, I just said $1 trillion. Upgrading all existing buildings. That means your business, your house, your cabin, your camper have to be zero emission. That's going to be tough to do. That piece in and of itself would cause a massive expense both to the public and to the government. Working collectively with farmers and ranchers to remove pollution and greenhouse gas emissions from the agricultural sector and use technology wherever feasible. Well, the emissions they're talking about is the flagellants of large animals, cows. I don't know how they expect to do that. Cork them? Humans and all mammals are flagellant from time to time. Only humans think it's embarrassing. I don't know how, without just eliminating the cow, you're going to eliminate the flagellants. But apparently the government thinks they can do it. Overhauling the transportation system to remove all pollution creating greenhouse gas emissions. Again, how do you do that? That means no airplanes, no cars, no trains, everything emits exhaust. Zero emission infrastructure. So let's say you own a business and you deliver things. You can't use the delivery trucks you currently have because they're not zero emission. You would have to get all new zero emission trucks. And let's not forget that the battery operated vehicles that are out there, the electric ones, the batteries are good for about 5 years, maybe 6. And when they go, it's anywhere from a $6,000 to $10,000 repair. It's unbelievable. Identify any other source of emission-producing pollution and eliminate it. Again, can you say $1 trillion? It must be developed through a transparent and inclusive collaboration and partnership with communities, labor unions, workers, civil society groups, and academia. The last one on the list is businesses. So basically the community gets to tell you how to run your business. You don't do that yourself. Provide and leverage a way to ensure the public receives appropriate ownership stakes and returns on investment, adequate capital for all technical expertise, supporting policies and other forms of assistance to community organizations, federal, state, local government agencies, and businesses, and businesses. So let me read that differently. The public receives appropriate ownership stakes and returns on investment from businesses. So that means the profits of the business owner no longer belong to the business owner, they belong to the collective. Provide resources, training, high quality education, and higher education to all people in the United States. Again, there's nothing free about free college. All it is redistribution of wealth. So instead of me paying for my kids to go to school, whether it be in cash or by student loan, all of us will have to pay for my kids to go to college. Again, not free. Direct all investments. So again, you're a business owner, you want to build a new warehouse or a new manufacturing facility or a new job creating business location. Well, it isn't up to you. The government gets to decide whether or not you get that warehouse or business and where you put it. Ensuring the use of democratic and participatory processes that are inclusive of, wait a minute, the community. So the community has to vote. You decide you want to build a warehouse in Escanaba, and the community has to decide whether or not, even if you own the property, whether or not you get to build that warehouse. And of course, it has to be zero emission. I don't know how you do that. Ensuring the mobilization of high quality union jobs that pay the prevailing wage, hire local workers, offers training and advancement opportunities, guarantees wage and benefit parity for all workers affected by the transition. Again, you don't decide what you pay your employee if you're the business owner. The government does, or the union does. Guaranteeing a job with a family-sustaining wage. Like I said, you don't decide what you pay for the job. The government does. Adequate family and medical leave, paid vacations, retirement, blah, 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 blah. Again, you don't decide your benefit package anymore. The government does. Protecting the right of all workers to organize, unionize, and collective bargain free of coercion, intimidation, or harassment. Well, I don't mind the free of coercion, intimidation, or harassment, but don't you think a business owner should get to decide whether or not it's a union-free shop or a union shop? And moreover, if you're familiar, in the state of Michigan, we have what's called a right to work law. And that means you go to work for a company that's unionized, you are not compelled, I'll use their word, coerced, intimidated, or harassed into joining the union. If you don't want to be a part of the union, you don't have to be. This says you do. Obtain free, prior, and informed consent from all the indigenous peoples for all decisions that affect the indigenous peoples. So again, what we have to do is go back to the Native Americans, now 400 years later, and say, hey, before we put in this very necessary pipeline, electric grid, whatever, you okay with it? Doesn't matter who owns the property. Ensure commercial environment where every business person is free from unfair competition. Competition drives success. It's a known fact. The reason that our new workers coming up now are not nearly as capable as older workers is everybody gets a trophy. Everybody gets a ribbon. Doesn't matter whether you win or lose. Doesn't matter if you compete well. So businesses that perform poorly don't have to worry about competing with businesses that perform well. It's all level. Can you say socialism? Oh, free health care, free, affordable, and safe, and adequate, and again, the government decides those things, housing, economic security. Again, in a capitalist society, in a republic, which is what we currently live in, if you want a nicer house, work harder, get a better job, get the promotion, get the education. Clean water, clean air, healthy food, and access to nature. I don't know how the government's going to guarantee that, but in my world, if I want to have access to nature, I can go to any number of state parks, state forests, federal parks, federal forests, and walk around in nature all I want. I don't know that I want the government monkeying around with that. In short, this is pure, unabashed, unapologetic socialism. There's no way around it. The government decides everything. Government decides where you work, what you'll do, how much you'll get paid, where you'll live, what that house will be like, how much health insurance, how much access to health care, where businesses will grow and where they won't. That bad businesses don't get penalized by better businesses because they don't have to compete. This is across the board socialism. This shouldn't be called the Green Deal. It should be called the step toward a socialist America. If you want the government making all your decisions, up to and including what education you get, where you get it, and what you study, where you work, how much you'll get paid, what is reasonable health care, what is reasonable housing, blah, 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 well, this deal's for you. Me, on the other hand, I tend to go for a competitive environment. If I do what I do better than the next guy, I'll prosper and they'll fail. If they do better than me, then the reverse is also true. It's what drives our economy. You want to kill our economy? Pass Resolution 109. Why? Why would anybody enter a business environment? Anybody, whether you're a giant corporation like Exxon or General Motors, or a very small business like mine. Why? Because you have no control over your business. The government does. You have no say or incentive for your business. The government does. This is an unabashed redistribution of wealth, redistribution of resources, redistribution of quite literally everything they could think of. And frankly, because AOC isn't that bright, she missed a few things, not many. If this passes, America as you know it is over. So it's call to action time. Time for you to get on the phone, get on your email, send a letter, whatever, to your representation in Lansing and in the federal government saying, no, no, we are a constitutional republic. We want to stay that way. We are a capitalist society where performance is rewarded. That's what we want. That's what we fought for time and time again. Don't think for a second you're going to take that away from us. And if that doesn't work, then express your desire in the voting booth. Vote for people that support the Constitution and the Republic, and not for people that seek to destroy it. Good luck with this one. I really hope it doesn't pass. Have a good weekend.